anger and resentment, because one of your quotes that I have here in front of me with my notes is consult your resentment. It is revelatory. And I'd love to unpack that. But if you could walk us through.
Yeah, well, in my new book, I have a chapter, which is Rule 11. Do not allow yourself to become resentful, deceitful, or arrogant. It's kind of the evil triad as far as I've been able to determine. Resentment in particular. It's bad. It's a bad emotion. It's useful. You can learn a lot by noticing that it occurs. Resentment tells you one of two things. One is that that someone's treading on your territory and something needs to be done about it, or that you need to grow the hell up and stop complaining. And it's hard. It isn't necessarily obvious when you feel resentful which of those it is, but you need to figure it out, because you can harbor resentment for unlived life for very, very long period of time. And all it does is corrupt you. It hurts you. It hurts you physically because it's a stressful emotion. Anger is a stressful emotion, because your body hyper prepares for action if you're angry, because you might get into conflict. And that's a dangerous situation. And so you burn off a lot of psychophysiological resources in anger. If you're resentful, there's probably something you need to say. There's certainly something you need to figure out. And so you can use it as a guide to further development. It's very much useful to aim at a resentment-free existence. And that means, I suppose, that you're taking up enough space. There's always a struggle between your domain and the domain of other people. Everyone competes for everyone else's attention. Everyone competes for everyone else's time. You compete for your own time. And if you're resentful, it's highly probable that, well, as I said, either you're not standing up for yourself sufficiently, or someone is legitimately on your case, in which case you need to do something about that. Or, live with the consequences, which is very unpleasant. It's not optimal. Sometimes I suppose it's unavoidable. But, generally there's something that can be done about it. Maybe you need a new job. It's easy for people to think that they're better than they are. And it's not surprising that everybody wants to think that. I probably want to think that about me. So then you'll get angry about something. Maybe your partner puts you down in public, doesn't show you the respect. Maybe you're married, say, and husband and wife owe each other a certain amount of categorical respect, sort of independent of the individual personalities. If you have decided that you're going to devote your life to someone and vice versa, they're now in a category that requires a certain amount of respect to maintain the relationship over time. It's good for your partner and it's also good for you. Maybe you've taken a shot in public and you're really angry about it, but you don't notice it because you want to think that you're better than you are. That sort of thing doesn't upset you. And so you don't say anything about it. You don't do anything about it. And then you don't fix it. And that's a mistake. It's much better. You could say to your partner, look, we were out for dinner tonight and you said something snarky, which I didn't think was appropriate. Now, I might be hypersensitive and touchy and immature, and maybe you hit me in a weak spot, or maybe you're playing some power game. Why don't we figure that out? Now, that's messy. People don't like conversations like that. And I think that's one of the things that's peculiar about me. For one, I don't know why exactly, but I don't like that. I won't let those things go.
So the peculiarity is that you'll open those conversations. You don't have an aversion to it.
Well, I have a horrible aversion to it, and I don't like conflict. But I've learned, and this is partly, I suppose, clinical training, but it's not just that. Some things, if you don't address them, they just get worse. And I've been able to see where things are going to go. It's kind of like what I mentioned to you earlier, that if I watch someone, I can generally figure out what they're up to. I also can see where things are going. And So, if I walk into someone's house and there are things out of order in a particular way, if I pay attention to that, that's often indicative of something not right in the relationship. Maybe the kitchen's a mess. It's like there's food that isn't fresh in the fridge, for example, or there's packages up in shelves that haven't been opened for like 2 years or since the wedding, let's say. Um, that's too much chaos in the kitchen. Something's wrong. Well, what's wrong? Well, there's something wrong in the domestic relationship. There, the bargaining about who does what in the kitchen hasn't been fought through, and so you have to have those fights to put things in order. And if you don't, then you end up with a worse fight in the future. And so the reason that I call things out, as far as I can tell, the positive reason, who knows what the negative reasons are, is because I don't want more conflict. I'd rather have genuine peace, which is very, very, very hard to obtain. People generally obtain peace by sweeping things under the carpet. I have another chapter in this new book called Don't Hide Things in the Fog. And that's what it concentrates on, is pay attention to your negative emotions. Resentment particularly, it's so informative. You find out where you're immature. Well, do you want to? Probably not. Who wants to find out that? Or you'll find out who's oppressing you. And maybe then you can learn to stand up for yourself.